Hello, viewers. If you are here for the first time, welcome. My rogue gang, if you have returned, welcome back. No time to lose. Let's dive in. Come on. That was the House Democrats holding a press meeting after producing articles of impeachment for Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. Let me fill you in on how we got here. Kristi Noem was born on November 30th, 1971, in Watertown, South Dakota, and raised on her family's farm and ranch in Hamlin County. After graduating from Hamlin High School in 1990 and serving as South Dakota's Snow Queen, she began college but paused her education following her father's death to help manage the family farm. She later earned a political science degree from South Dakota State University in 2012 while serving in Congress. Noem entered politics in 2006 as a member of the South Dakota House of Representatives, where she served until 2011 and held a leadership role. In 2010, she was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives, serving 4 terms from 2011 to 2019 and advocating conservative policies, reduced federal spending, and limited government regulation. Noem announced her bid for governor in 2016 and won the 2018 election, becoming the first woman governor of South Dakota. From her 2024 book, No Going Back, she revealed she shot and killed her 14-month-old dog and her goat, reason being because they were quote-unquote aggressive and nasty. Her daughter's application for a real estate appraiser was denied, so Kristi Noem held a meeting at her residence with state employees and her daughter to subsequently have her daughter's application approved, per an ethics investigation. Noem has been known by using the state's plane, paid at the expense of the taxpayer, to take personal and political trips, as well as spending $60,000 to redecorate her mansion. Then in 2023, she funneled around $80,000 from the American Resolve Policy Fund, a nonprofit organization, into her personal LLC. Several Native American tribes banned her from their reservations after she accused the tribe leaders in making money for drug cartels. In response to COVID-19, she refused to put into effect lockdowns and mask mandates. As a result, due to her failure in management, there were massive outbreaks. In regards of the Keystone XL pipeline, she tried to stop protests against the project by developing anti-protest legislation, in which the court found unconstitutional. In addition, she promoted legislation to ban transgender girls from female sports using national advertising. After the 2024 election, President Donald Trump nominated her to be Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. What is the role of Homeland Security Secretary? The role of the Homeland Security Secretary is to oversee the Department of Homeland Security, which is responsible for preventing terrorism and maintaining security in the United States. Who does the Homeland Security Secretary report to? The President of the United States. Who can fire the Homeland Security Secretary? The President of the United States can fire the Homeland Security Secretary at any time without the approval of Congress. On the other hand, in Congress, the House of Representatives can begin a process by filing articles of impeachment, and the Senate holds a trial and votes for a conviction and removal, which requires 2/3 of a vote. One of the earliest and most contentious episodes of Noem's time at DHS involved the administration's deportation of Venezuelan migrants under the rarely invoked Alien Enemies Act. In March 2025, U.S. authorities deported over 250 Venezuelans to a maximum security prison in El Salvador without standard immigration hearings or the opportunity to pursue asylum claims, a move that was criticized as sidestepping due process protections. Many of those deported were not charged with crimes, and advocacy groups argued that the government's characterization of alleged gang affiliations was unsubstantiated. A federal appeals court had temporarily blocked part of the deportations on due process grounds before legal maneuvering allowed the flights to proceed. Noem's visit to the Salvadoran prison facility, where she was photographed touring cells while wearing a luxury Rolex watch, became a focal point for criticism and satire in political discourse. Opponents derisively dubbed her Ice Barbie, suggesting that her public image and stylized appearances were being emphasized alongside aggressive enforcement rhetoric at the expense of careful consideration for legal and humanitarian norms. Earlier in her political career, while serving as governor of South Dakota, Noem published a memoir claiming she had met North Korean leader Kim Jong-un during her congressional tenure. Observers and experts quickly challenged the veracity of this account as highly implausible, given the historical record of U.S.-North Korea diplomatic engagement. Noem's office later acknowledged the anecdote was an error and stated that future editions of the book would correct it, a rare admission of a fabricated claim in a political memoir. Another flashpoint occurred in June 2025, when U.S. Senator Alex Padilla, DCA, was removed and handcuffed by security personnel at a press conference hosted by Noem after attempting to question the secretary about immigration policy. The image of a sitting senator being detained at a federal event highlighted tensions between DHS and congressional oversight, fueling concerns about transparency and respect for democratic norms. While administration officials defended the enforcement of security protocols, critics viewed the incident as symptomatic of an adversarial attitude toward accountability. Noem also drew ire for her decision to cancel approximately $18.5 million in federal grants earmarked for LGBTQ+ support programs and diversity, equity, and inclusion (DEI) initiatives, labeling them ideologically driven. Advocates for those programs argued that the cuts disproportionately affected vulnerable communities and politicized the distribution of government funding. Although specific mainstream reporting on the exact dollar figure is not readily available, the broader pattern of rescinding grants tied to DEI and related social support programs has been covered extensively in political commentary. Perhaps the most sustained line of criticism against Noem has focused on her stewardship of taxpayer funds. Under her leadership, DHS authorized a $200 million advertising and recruitment campaign aimed at highlighting immigration enforcement achievements and bolstering agent recruitment. Investigations revealed that portions of the campaign were awarded via no-bid contracts to firms with personal and political ties to Noem and her senior aides, bypassing competitive procurement processes meant to safeguard public funds. Lawmakers from both parties have called for investigations into potential conflicts of interest and misuse of emergency contracting authorities. Simultaneously, DHS purchased 2 Gulfstream luxury jets for use by Noem and other agency officials at a cost approaching $200 million during a period of federal budgetary scrutiny, including a government shutdown. These expenditures on private aircraft and a high-profile ad campaign frequently featuring Noem herself have led critics to argue that resources were directed towards self-promotion rather than core homeland security objectives. Recent controversy erupted after an ICE agent fatally shot Renee Nicole Good, a 37-year-old Minneapolis resident. Federal officials, including Noem, publicly characterized Good's vehicle as having been used as a weapon against ICE agents, an assertion that was widely disseminated in initial media statements. However, available video evidence and commentary from local officials suggested Good may have been attempting to flee the scene rather than assault officers, leading to accusations that the administration's narrative was misleading and prematurely framed before a full investigation. This incident intensified scrutiny of DHS's use of force and how information is communicated to the public.
This is not what we signed up for. This rogue agency is violating the rights of immigrants. It is violating the rights of American citizens in our communities. And last Wednesday, the violation of those rights, the escalation by ICE in our communities, got Renee Good killed.
I smell abuse of power all the way around. Hopefully the impeachment process of Kristi Noem Ice Barbie makes its way to the Senate and they reach unanimous vote to remove this woman from office. for once and for all.